Hello, Facebook friends. I'm at the Board of Aldermen. As you guys have probably guessed, a lot was going on here today. The mayor had a news conference earlier this morning to talk about how that Rams settlement money is going to be spent. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about that $30 million that's going to help tornado victims that was passed with the cooperation of the Board of Aldermen as well as the mayor's office. With me now is Rasheen Aldridge, and he's going to talk about that. But first, there was many of you who've been with me throughout the afternoon. You saw the hearing on the sheriff's issue. Alderman, first of all, just tell us what happened on that sheriff's issue. I know there was a measure, and you had expressed some concerns about one.
Yeah, I'll jump straight into it, Elliot. You ain't got to do the question. So what happened today? I'm running his thing. Okay. I love Elliot. Thank you always. Thank you for being great. No, in serious. So what happened today is the Board of Aldermen held up Board Bill 33 in committee. I think there's still a lot of.
And tell them what that bill was.
The bill was to put requirements on the sheriff's office outside of, in my opinion, the scope that he already is in the state statute. So what's unique about the city is the sheriff office is a county office. Just like the recorder of deeds, collector of revenue, license collector, their county office, they are created by the state statute. So they're governed by state statute. And what we're trying to do today is pass local ordinance trying to govern and put additional requirements on the sheriff, in which, in my opinion, we cannot do, as well as kind of single out his office when it comes to contracts and funding that he would have to go through the comptroller's office to get any funding or contract agreements, and that is not the case for any other office. And the problem is you don't want to set a precedent. If the sheriff is not here anymore, then you've kind of locked the sheriff office in a way that other offices do not have that same ability. So, you know, it's the committee process. The alderman, I'm sure, will bring it back. He can change the bill, and it's not the first time that a bill has been held in committee.
One of the issues was requiring the sheriff to, clarification of that, transport prisoners from the jail to the hospital.
Yes,
right? That was a big point that you raised.
That was a big point, and that was one of the points being the budget chair. I brought back in the sheriff. Look, I definitely want the sheriff to do the duties that have been going on before he got in office of transporting residents at the CJC. But my fear is it's not in the state statute. That responsibility is not in the state statute. Then there's another state statute that the alderman who was sponsoring it was trying to say, well, maybe because of this statute allows the city to explain more of those roles and duties. And that right there of the transport is right now being litigated between the AG and the sheriff. And I think we need to let that play out in court before we also get into this political back and forth. But I get what the alderman is trying to do of making it very clear what the role is. I just don't believe that one is the role. And as city leaders, we need to work with the sheriff and the city to define that and make sure it's clear.
And I think you kind of indicated some discomfort that the aldermen were going to decide this issue when it's part of the Attorney General's effort to oust the sheriff at a trial that's going to come up in November.
Yes.
And the judge is going to make that decision.
Yeah, the judge is going to make the decision either way. So it's no need for, I feel like, and to be clear, the alderman who sponsored this bill, he filed the bill before the pending litigation. So he did not file the bill to try to get into a fight between the sheriff and the AG and himself. He filed it way before the AG decided to try to process or sue the sheriff. But this is being played out right now in court, and I think we need to stay out of that and let that figure out what happens in court, and then we move forward as a body with that.
Okay, let's switch gears. Talk about the Rams money.
Yes.
How's that money got to be spent?
Yes, so today the mayor released how she's going to tap into that Rams money. Roughly about 20,000 of the 20 million of the 30 million will be spent. I don't have all the details. I know it's on the city website. If you go on YouTube in the city of St. Louis, you can see it all. But I know a big chunk of it is going to go like to case management. So to make sure that individuals that have been impacted by this storm have a caseworker that is following them all the way through the process, making sure they get resources, making sure that we can continue to make sure that they have housing in St. Louis, because the biggest thing is we want to keep as many people in the city that has been impacted by this storm. Some of that funds is also going to go to a humanitarian efforts that the mayor said. So as we're in winter or in summer months, making sure that there's funding to keep people cool down in the hot time, making sure that there's water. Some of the funds are going to go to non-for-profits that have been doing the work on the ground. Thank all the non-for-profits because they.
Is that like the Urban League and other organizations?
The Urban League for the Ville, organizations that's been doing the work from day one. The Red Cross, but the grassroots organization has been doing the work literally before elected officials came up with legislation. Now, we was out on the ground early with them, but they've been continuing to do the work. And some of it's going to go to rental assistance, not just for tenants, but also homeowners. I know we were pushing the impacted tenants bill, but some of these funds also will be able to go for homeowners who own their home to be able to have some housing assistance with this RAMS fund.
It's taken us a long time to get to this point.
Not at all.
Almost 2 months.
Not at all.
You can't be, even the mayor wasn't satisfied. Even the mayor admitted this took far too long.
I would say that.
What would you say?
I would say I think Elliot believes that we should have done it quicker. I believe we acted very quickly. In that first week when that storm happened, I was out there that Saturday with somebody from the mayor's office. That first week, a lot of alders who was impacted by this storm was out talking to their residents, assessing the issue, making sure people had housing, making sure people was out of their homes when this tornado hit. That very second week after that tornado, you seen legislation moving through the city of St. Louis. That third week, I was in conversations with the mayor and the president's office saying we need to do some with RAMS money, and we started moving that. The fear of why we didn't want to move some of that money once it's passed is because FEMA. If we duplicate any services that FEMA is already spending money on, they will not spend no more money. So we were trying to, I think from the city stands, could we have moved quicker? Yes. I think we moved as quick as possible. One, assessing it, being sensitive and understanding and boots on the ground with the people. And then once we found legislation that we was able to move, this Board of Aldermen moved legislation faster than they ever have, literally within 1 week. And now we're getting the money out the door. We had state money, we have federal money, and now we're focusing on the local money.
When will this RAMS money get out the door? When can people apply and how?
The mayor said by this summer. That is what she said. By this summer, these funds, as soon as possible, they will be voted on ENA, I want to say the 16th. So ENA has to approve these fundings being spent this way, and as soon as that get voted on the 16th, these funds will start to be able to go out the door. The great thing is the administration has already worked with many of residents, organizations, and know who's been impacted and what services is needed.
Final question. We had talked to Board President Megan Green once, and she said she could see spending up to $100 million more of that RAMS money on this issue. What say you about that?
I say we definitely need to spend more of it, 150 million, if not more. You know, the 30 we knew was not enough. I felt like somebody who was reaching out to the mayor's office and working with the president, we had to put something out, but also think as we move forward, we absolutely need to tap into more RAM funding to help a community that has been devastated and that has been disproportionately invested way before this tornado. This is not just rip the Band-Aid off the wound, this is open up the whole wound of what North St. Louis has been going through for a very long time. So we absolutely need to tap into more.
That's going to involve more legislation, right? To
yes,
do that.
Sir.
Do you know when that could be in the works?
Well, we go on summer break. We come back in September, so maybe when we come back from summer break.
Alderman, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Elliot.
And love the suit.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, buddy.
See you, friend.
Appreciate
Elliot's
it.
the best, y'all.
Thank you. Okay. All right, there we go. We've heard a lot. Obviously, we've been talking about that RAMS settlement money for a long time. The city has now announced its plans to get that out the door. Not only the $30 million, as you heard the alderman say, maybe as much as another $100 million, but that wouldn't start occurring until about September. Of course, I'm going to keep you up on all this, my Facebook friends.